This episode is brought to you by Whitaker Garage Doors, your one-stop shop for all things garage doors, proudly based in Peekskill, New York. Your home is a direct reflection of your personal style, and let's face it, your garage doors are the first thing people see when they pull up your driveway. Whether you're looking for the timeless charm of a classic carriage house door or the clean, sleek look of a basic wood finish, Whitaker Garage Doors offers traditional options for every taste and budget. I can personally vouch for their incredible service. When I had my own garage doors done, I was blown away by their timeliness, professionalism, and overall respect for their clients. Jonathan, Cassara, and their entire team are top-notch, and they really go the extra mile to ensure you're happy with the final result. So if you're in the market for a new garage door or need some repairs, give them a call or find them on Instagram at Whitaker_doors. Don't forget to tell them you're a friend of Dave's over at the No Snooze podcast. Whitaker Doors. You won't regret it. Now, back to the epi. Adversity? Bring it. The struggle? I welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. I am Dave Regina, and this is the No Snooze podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 266. As always, I'm in the booth. We got a very special three today. I'm in here with Claudio the Voice, Valenzuela, Justin, the Chin Strap, Sanchez, and I am Dave, the Body, Regina, baby. For some of you guys, you refer to me as... Listen, I know they call me Barnes because I'm feeling noble, all right? And I'm speaking this into existence because by the time this airs, I would have already sold out another one.
We're back to this?
Another one. We're back. We're back, baby.
I need to know, did the poll go up?
No, I didn't put the poll up because I was gonna put the corn emoji going all the way, and I think it's just gonna slide all the way over. Listen, couple of housekeeping things before we get into it. We have Health is Wealth coming up, April 25th, 2026, just a couple weeks away. My brother Sean Degnan and I, in partnership with Westchester County, we are running the county's first and the largest wellness expo that the county's really ever seen. It's at the Westchester County Center. We've got over 30 speakers, over 70 local businesses, great breakout sessions, lunches included. So make sure you grab that ticket. And I have not been specific about telling people to go grab the ticket prior and why it's so important. We need to pay for lunch for you. Okay, so even if you have a discount code, please go sign up for Health is Wealth. We just need an accurate head count because we need to make sure that there's enough food for everybody. You feel me?
I don't blame you.
Listen, so we're going to do things a little bit different today. I am throwing it over to Justin the Chin Strap Sanchez, somebody who I've known, CV has known for over 10 years now. And he's 21 years old now, so you do the math on that. It's been pretty cool to watch Justin grow. He was a intern with No Snooze early on. We've done some cool things together. Justin has now joined forces with Cayivisions and is one of the shooters behind the scenes here. But we're very grateful for Justin, and I want Justin to actually interview me because it's not every day that I'm interviewed by a 20-something. You know, I'm a 30-something now. So there's a little distance between us. Not that much distance.
Tiny bit.
But Justin, welcome to the pod, bro. I want to tell you I'm grateful for you. I'm proud of everything that you're doing, man. And any way that I can support you in your journey, I'm here for you, bro.
Yo, I appreciate that, my man. Right back at you. No need for the support. This is the gems that you drop are enough. But yeah, I wanted to get into it when you offered me this. I'm like, this is kind of fire. I've never done this before. I used to be in front of the camera all the time. Yeah. Now I'm behind. We'll be back. You know what I mean? I wanna hit the Bible verses real quick.
The Bible verse. So had to pull one because I haven't memorized it for this week. But this one is big, and I actually wrote it to my queen this morning. And this is from Jeremiah 29:13, and it says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart." So that's important because belief is the biggest thing when it comes to God, specifically Jesus for me. If you have a little belief, there's biblical context that says all you need is faith of a mustard seed, right? So you really only need a little bit. But I truly believe that when you seek God and you truly believe in him with all of your heart, despite all of the adversities that life is throwing at you, that's when he will do incredibly abundant things in your life. So that's from Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, which is a great book as well. But I'm a little behind when it comes to memorizing them all. They creep up quick. But this is the beauty about goals, right? Put a goal out of trying to memorize one per week. Even if you fail the goal and you only memorize 25, think about the knowledge that I have gained in just a year. And that's a great tool for anybody who's, setting goals. You want to set goals that are absolutely achievable. But even if you stretch that goal a little bit and come up a little short, still a win, baby.
I mean, you 25 ahead. You're 25 ahead.
Right.
I actually heard someone say the other day, it was like, if you read 10 pages, well, I mean, you even say this too, if you read 10 pages a day, you know what I mean? It adds up to however many it was a year. Definitely forgot that number, but it's more than the average person reads and more than you would read in a single year.
Absolutely.
So I love that. I mean, as you know, I've gotten into this a little bit more. I used to be into it pretty heavily. Left for, some personal reasons, but he's found his way back in my life. So I wanted to, hit one that actually I heard on my first day back in the church. It was Matthew chapter 5, verse 39. It was, "But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also." And one thing I really love about that is, we tend to pride ourselves on being the big dog, the alpha, where like if someone does something to us, we got to do it back, or we got to get them back for this, or we got to do something to impress somebody else in a negative light when it's bringing someone else down. But if you get slapped on the cheek, you turn the other cheek and you walk away. You be the bigger man. You go, chase the goals that you were chasing. Don't stoop to that level of being someone that you're not. You know what I mean? So I really love that one. The fact that it was my first one back, I was like, wow. And that was about a month and a half ago. So I'm still pretty new to this. And it's stuck with me ever since. So I was like, I got to say this one
Very
today.
dope. Did you see the video of the guy on the train that actually got slapped? So there was a guy, two guys that were actually having like a verbal altercation, and one dude slapped another dude, and then he literally did that, and he physically turned his cheek to allow him to slap him again, and he did. And he said, "You know what? Jesus loves you, and it's okay." And the dude who slapped him broke down in tears. It's a great video. Probably painful a little bit. Like if I slap you and then you just turn and let me slap you again, you might get a little bit hurt. But no, the message behind that is something we all can apply in our lives. So thank you for sharing that,
Yeah,
bro.
of course. I mean, I think it's crazy too, because it's like, I mean, at least with me, I wish it wasn't this way, but like, I waited till a difficult point in my life. I waited till I was down, waited till I was, not doing the best to find him again. But he was there the whole time. He knew it was going to happen. He saw it happen. He sent people my way to get me out of that. But I always thought it was a coincidence. God's not a coincidence. And that's what I've been, told. So it's like being able to, look at him, speak to him, follow his, his word and his guidance. You're just going to keep going up. And that's exactly what I need in my life. That's exactly what I needed when I started again. So I'm glad to be back and, blessed that he loves me the same way he loved me before I left. You know
Keep
what
going,
I mean?
bro. Keep going.
Always. Well, I mean, let's get into it, bro.
Yes, sir.
My
Talk to
bad. I was enjoying that one a little bit.
Yep.
But let's start it off. Let's start with something funny. Like, you remember when we first met?
Nah.
You don't remember?
Well, so when we first met,
Originally.
I mean, when you were like 10 years old?
A young bull.
Really? Because, I know some of your family members, specifically mom and sister, and come from a great family, man.
Appreciate that.
And I just want to say that. Shout out to mom, who's
Mom Dukes.
definitely worked hard to raise a good man. But yeah, you were involved in some of the Greenberg programs coming up. And then you got heavy into acting, which was super dope. Rest in peace to Paul, right? That was one of CV's guys as well. But a lot of you guys don't know, Justin was actually featured on an Apple TV show as well, right? And a lot of print with modeling and acting for a while. And you've taken a different path now. But it was back then, and one of the coolest memories I have of you. So no, I don't remember the first interaction, but one of the coolest memories I have of you is when you were still a young teen, and we actually brought you back to speak to some of the kids and let them know kind of what you were doing in the acting space.
Yeah.
You remember that time?
So that was actually what I was referring to. I've
okay.
probably met you a million times with every program that y'all have probably put together there that I've taken from the, the culinary classes a long time ago. I did that acting with Norma Jean like years ago.
Wow, that's before us.
That was before. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's what got me started in the acting journey was the Nutcracker with Norma Jean. My mom made me go to that. I didn't want to go. I thought I was going to be a baseball star. I thought I was going to be the next Michael Vick. You know what I mean? But
wait, Michael Vick plays
football.
Yeah. So where did baseball star come from?
Baseball, football. You know
what?
I mean? I wanted to do it all. I wanted to be a, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to play.
I thought he was going to say I wanted to be a baseball star like Derek Jeter. He said, I was a baseball star like Michael Vick.
Michael Jordan played both. Russell Wilson played both. I wanted to be like that. So I wanted
But Michael Vick did not. So
yeah.
But Michael. All right. See, Michael Vick was one of my peoples. You know what I mean?
Okay.
My son could sling the rock, but that got to be a pose, right? Yeah, we gonna pose that one ahead of time. But yeah, so I thought that's what I wanted to do. My mom was like, yo, go try it. You know what I mean? You never know. As a typical kid who don't trust okay, fine. I go do it. Next thing you know, I'm falling in love with it. The dancing is coming easy. All right, hold on. This acting day is kind of cool. I'm making friends. And then you get the lead part with another girl that's also the lead. It's like, whoa, hold on. This is new. And then it led to, rest in peace, Paul. That's still a hard one to talk about. Can't even take that class because he's not there right now. But it led to that. And one of my first real interactions with you was when y'all brought me back after the actual show on Apple TV, and I was able to, not necessarily give back to community, but give back to the community in a sense where show you guys the show, talk to you guys, see who was interested, see who's not, just, be a light in that room for, many youngins and even people my age at the time to, show that anything's possible. I went on thousands of auditions. Not even signed to an agency before I got this one, and I missed one and they got rid of me right away. So it's like being able to keep pushing through 8 years straight of not getting something, and then you get the biggest thing you've ever even seen with the biggest company that we probably use on a daily basis. It's a blessing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember that was my first, interaction with you. And it just led to, so much more, and I'm blessed for that. So speaking of that, do you remember the conversation you had with me in your office with Claude there? This is a long time ago.
Yeah,
these stay.
No. Put me on.
So Claudio used to have this leadership group, right? And we used to always film videos for like the summer kids and stuff like that. And I just gravitated to what he was doing behind the camera, what he was doing with the mics. And it led to him like, yo, do you want to like learn how to edit this? Do you want to see how I edit this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I was always in front of the camera, but I loved everything behind the camera, which obviously led to this. So I'm watching him and I'm really enjoying this. And after a couple months, he's like, yo, like I want you to meet Dave. We got a podcast going on. I think it's something that you'll really, really enjoy. I go into your office terrified. My man had the office on the bottom floor. He was straight faced. I'm like, yo, I'm scared. But you really taught me like a valuable lesson in there. It was like you were friendly, but you weren't too friendly. You wanted to understand that this was something of importance to you. This is something of importance to you guys at the time, and you couldn't let anything jeopardize that. And as a young kid, I could easily jeopardize that by just the actions that I would take because my brain isn't fully developed. So I respected you a whole bunch from that point forward, and it led to many other things. Like so, I really appreciate that, and that led us here. So I'm surprised. I'm surprised you don't remember.
I do remember it now that you're talking about it, but it was along the lines of like, look, you're going to see me at work professionally, and then you're going to hear what we're recording on the podcast, and that's the lesson you're probably referring to, being able to separate personal relationships with the professional game as well, which is something that the two of us know is pivotal to success, and a lot of people struggle with that. Honestly, you know what I mean. But you did a great job, man. And one thing about you, you've always been super kind, respectful, and a willingness to learn. And that's the thing that I love most about you. You have a sense of humility to you, where when you are around people who may know a little bit more or not, you're always willing to put your best foot forward and take a step back and want to learn.
Oh, of course. And that lesson actually goes to show with the next story I have, which I'll never do this again. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We were doing, I think we were doing like the vaccines, over there, and you had people coming in doing vaccines, and you had the, us young kids helping. And I just remember talking like, because I thought I could. I mean, I thought I could talk smack to you. I'm like, oh yeah, we filmed the pod. Like, everything's cool. I'm not talking about the pod. Let me just talk smack. And that smack led me to almost throwing up. I was like, yo, I was talking to him about, yo, let's hit the gym right now. Like, yo, we standing around, Dave, you just standing there making jokes. Like, yo, let's go hit the gym right now. And Dave just laughs in my face. And I'm like, all right, like, I get it. But like in my head, I'm a young kid. Oh, he's scared. You know what I mean? He's scared. So I ended up texting you that night because you left early. Texted you way too late. I shouldn't have texted you this late. But I texted you that night and I said, we just finished, Dave. Thank you for today. You dipped on me. Guess you were scared of getting outlifted, but it's cool. I won't tell nobody. Your response was, talk is cheap. Actions are expensive. Show up at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow. And my response was,
what year was this?
Yo, this was 2021.
Wow.
March 28th. I said, oh, word, I like that. See you then. I indeed did not like that. I was terrified the night before. I was like, yo, what did I just get myself into? But I showed up. I showed up. I was early. Showed up on the skateboard, the boosted board.
Yes.
Didn't have a car then. And I was just waiting there for you. And a couple minutes go by. I'm like, oh, maybe he forgot. I'm like, yo, yes, I can go home. Let's go. And he just pulled up straight, like ready to go. Nearly threw up that workout. I'll never forget. We was like halfway through. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. You're like, I had the warm-ups done. The warm-up? What you mean the warm-up? I'm about to like pass out over here.
Nickels and dimes. Right?
Yeah, bro. But it's like, yeah, that you've always had that mindset since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And so it's something I've admired about you. And I'm pretty sure that's what everyone that looks up to you always remembers. It's like, your mindset was never changed. You know what I'm saying? You had your time, and you know what I'm saying, as a youngin' where you look back and like, I wish I didn't do that. But you have impacted so many of our lives in a way that you probably don't understand, where it's like your actions are teaching us. You don't even have to outright say it. This podcast is a platform that you are able to and people can, listen to, but it's just, if they know you in person or they see you in person, you just admit that. So, I'm grateful for that, bro.
Thank you, bro. No, that's I remember that time vividly. I think we actually took a picture when he was sitting on the bench.
I hope not.
Yeah, I remember. And you were getting a little queasy, but it's funny because I also see a lot of myself in you, right? Mm-hmm. You still have that competitive nature about you. We all love to compete, especially as young men. But now I have obviously the wisdom behind what I do. And I also know that like when it comes to working out, like my standard workout is not the typical workout, right?
Real quick.
And it's always interesting to me because, I work with a lot of athletes as well, specifically during that time, and was in just sports performance for a number of years, training high-level athletes. And, the younger you are, the dumber you are.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
And it's a good dumb because it's an ignorance. Mm-hmm. It's an ignorance to like how hard it really is to show up every day. And when people see me even now, they can't fathom me being 153 pounds in high school, walking around with toilet paper in my backpack, losing 40 pounds in a span of 4 months. But I specifically remember those days and even see that young boy in the mirror every time I look, believe it or not. But the actions are important, right? So, the talk is funny, but actions are the most important thing, and showing up and getting a good workout in. And you got through it, bro. So, I remember being like, yeah, I'm going to kick this boy's ass for sure. But I didn't even try to do that. Like I was just going through my own routine to show you the level of separation that there really is in regards to the work ethic.
How were you able to keep your composure during that? Like you got this young kid, you know what I mean, trying to chirp at you and get you out of your shell, out of your self-development at the time. Like what stopped you from being like, yo, relax, as opposed to like, you know what, you want that, let's do it. I'm gonna teach you a valuable lesson in the process that you're gonna take on for the rest of your life and be way better.
Well, honestly, it was just me being authentic and genuine, right? Like I, again, was not showing up necessarily for you. I was going to work out at 6:30 anyway. My location may have been a little bit different, but I was going to go do my thing. And then when you said that, I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Word.
And, I did think that I know that there's this level of greatness inside of you, and I want you to see the different levels of things that you can begin to implement and achieve in your own life, right? We didn't even do anything crazy. It was push-ups, pull-ups, but a lot of volume, touch some weights and stuff like that. But I also wanted to show you that, listen, life is going to hit you. regardless, right? And a lot of people miss because I look at working out as like an intentional discomfort in your life, right? Like, and the more that you prepare for that and the more that we can teach our youth, right? Like Callie is in Benji's basketball class
That's
right now.
fire.
You know, they're doing push-ups and Benji's wild. He's like, they make a mistake, he'll say count to 10. If they count to 11, he's like 200 push-ups. And then after like 5 push-ups, because they can't even do it, he's like, all right, get up. But he's teaching them that valuable lesson of discipline early. And it's a lesson, I think, whether you're 5, whether you're 15, whether you're 25, 35, 45, you can begin to implement that whenever you want. So I was just trying to show you kind of how I operate. And also I was hoping that it allowed you to see a side of me beyond, you know, what you physically see, but tapping into the mental space of kind of how I am when I work out. I probably had my headphones on. I don't necessarily remember. But I was probably listening to Joel Osteen. So I wasn't listening to any hardcore rap trying to, you know, do anything crazy. But just so you can see and get familiar with how I move.
You know, that's another thing too. It's like just to show everyone like how strong your mental game is. You don't even work out with music, period. I'll never forget in the early days of No Snooze, you used to talk about, yo, challenge yourself. Like, work out with no music. And then instead of going to that, you know what I'm saying, that gangster rap that we all love, go listen to a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Listen to like, you know, some gospel music. So I actually challenged myself yesterday at New York Sports Club and no headphones, nothing. In there just getting a workout in, and yo, it's difficult. It's really a mental thing for sure, because it's like, yo, you got all these people roaming around, and me being me, I'm always like over my shoulder. Like when I'm at dinner, I gotta see the door. Like I'm that guy. Like I don't know why, but it's like anyone walks behind me, I gotta look, make sure I'm good. Ain't no one coming for me. I ain't do nothing, but it's like I have to. So it's like constantly I'm always getting like distracted. So the headphones kind of help, but in a way you push through that, and it shows how strong you really are mentally, that you never saw before. So you challenging me to do that years ago, and I finally do it yesterday, and I see everything that you're talking about. It's like, it's wild to think how strong your mental game is, in a sense of like no one really sees that of you.
Yeah.
Well,
I still have so much to grow, and the thing that I love the most, and I say it all the time, is the day that I stop that is actually the day that I start dying. So you can be as strong as you want, but the day that you stop and you let those negative thoughts, those negative habits creep in, you know, the whole game changes. But also those little things are tools, right? They're tools for your toolbox, because there's nothing easier and more motivating than going for a workout outside when it's sunny and 75 degrees outside. But then half of the world, and that's probably a low number, the second that it starts to rain, everybody's in their head.
True.
So we can't allow the outside environments to affect how we move on a daily basis internally. So regardless of its weather or music or anything like that, the non-music thing is a tool to develop discipline, to be able to show yourself and to prove to yourself, I could get it in regardless of any other circumstance that's going on.
That's fire. I mean, yo, speaking of these gems that you dropping, bro, you know, back then, and I feel like I have a response to this, or I think I know, but back then, you know, in the early days of having me as an intern, or like, you know, having me at the job as well, and the fact that, you know, I didn't even know, like, you saw yourself in me, what was one lesson that you were trying to instill in me that any 21-year-old or 14-year-old, 13-year-old at the time should, you know, take in and really, you know, prosper in?
I think there's a couple, but I think structure is so important, man. I think structure is not only a lesson for obviously adults to implement, but the earlier that you can develop a structure and a level of discipline in your life via the routine. And I wanted you to see that, right? I wanted you to see how we kind of, even when it came to the work stuff and we're doing the podcast stuff, I wanted you to understand the importance of showing up every week at the same time. It's on the calendar. It's something that you don't miss, right? Now, if you can do that in business and working out and in your relationships, you create what I think is the best lesson in the world, which is alignment, right? Because we all want to find a level of alignment. And then for a long time, I had the mental game in terms of working out, but I was terrible in my relationships, you know? So I wanted you to really see from us the level of consistency that goes in to create something great, right? And great to me is something that is fulfilling, something that is purposeful, something that you can remain consistent with, regardless of if any money is attached to it, right? Like at that time, there was no level of a financial goal for us to get in and do what we do. but it was more so like showing you the structure and the parameters of how you got to show up to everything.
Yo, bro, I love that. And it's wild too, because it's like when I told you I feel like I know the answer. In the early days, you used to show me how you approach social media with why you follow the max amount of people, why you DM other podcasts, what you DM them to work on, you know, moving up in the world. And that was something that I was blessed that you were like, yo, try this, do this for us, see what you think. Even Claudio, during the thing, he would have me find photos. He would have me listen to the pod as we filmed to make his life easier in the edit. And how many times did I let you down with that? How many times I let you down with that? You know what I mean? So it's like, it just goes to show that the lessons were all there. I just never saw them. I took everything for granted. I feel like I took, you know, the fun moments for granted. And in a sense, I let y'all down with the, you know, the DMing and the finding the photos and stuff. So that's something that's always stuck with me, especially as I got older and I realized what it was for. You know, when you're young and people tell you something, you don't really see it. But then you get older and it's like, oh, wow. Like, all right. Like, I get it now.
Yeah. I think what you're referring to, too, and just to bring more context to it, we would have like different roles and responsibilities as we were growing our platform and social media presence. And a couple of the simple tools that we utilized early on in social media, and I don't know if the game still works like this. Things have shifted so much. But you used to be able to follow about 7,500 pages. And I was very intentional about following, you know, a couple hundred per day. That were in alignment with what we were doing. So I would find different podcast pages and I would tell Justin, yo, look, go follow these pages, shoot them a DM, say, hey, look, happy to support your podcast, would appreciate a follow back. So we do little things like that where we would challenge Justin with like, all right, just do this every day. And it doesn't matter if you're just reading 10 pages a day or you're working out every day or you're following 100 pages on Instagram. You see now how hard it is to do something consistently over an extended period of time. You say that you let us down. I think we already knew what we were kind of getting into.
Yeah.
We didn't have these crazy expectations on you because, again, it was more so, you know, us trying to bring you along to expose you to what it was. We weren't really thinking that like, oh my God, Justin Sanchez is going to come in and grow our following to, you know, to make it work. But I hope you took, and it seems like you even now, because you're still so young, man, you know, and you talked a lot before about like, oh, you know, your life went bad for you to find God. Bro, you are so young in a good way. I don't mean that from a disrespectful way.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to be where you're at right now. And not just here, I'm just saying in your life.
Yeah.
You've had great experiences, but you have your entire life to look forward to. Me, I'm 36 years old, and I have my entire life to look forward to. Yeah. I still feel young. I mean, the grays and stuff might say a little bit less. Well, not so much right now. Shout out just from Ben. But you get what I'm saying. You know, those little tools were really just things that we want you to implement in your own life, wherever that worked.
No, bro, I love it. And I appreciate everything for it because it's like, yo, in a sense, I feel like I let y'all down because being around you guys, being around people who were better than me, being around people who knew more than me, were wiser than me. They always say put yourself in a room with people that are better than you because you're going to continue to grow. Right. Obviously, back then, I didn't know that. Back then, I just thought, yo, I was along for the ride. It's dope. Like, I'm young and we pop. No, it was deeper than that. And I'm pretty sure you guys knew that going into it. So, in a sense, I thought I was letting y'all down, but in reality, I was being a kid. And I've learned so much from it and can't thank y'all enough. But, yo, you brought up relationships. And I want to touch on that because, you know, relationships can be a tricky thing. Based on your relationship, and shout out to Katie. She's incredible. We love her. But based on your relationship with Katie, you know, like what's some small things that, you know, go a long way that men out there can use to become, you know, better partners?
Better partners. I love that, man. I guess I really just like to speak on what I do, right? Like, I don't really love teaching per se. Sometimes it comes off as teaching and preaching, but the best way to teach is just sharing what you do. So I think a lot of us guys overanalyze and overthink this process, right? But women specifically love consistency. And I want to be clear, I'm speaking from a ton of broken relationships and ultimately divorce, as you know, as most people on the platform kind of already know my story. So the things I do now, I want to be very clear about, were not the things that I prioritized in any of my other relationships. But I have some small things that I do all the time, right? I get my girl flowers, and it's really symbolic because the very first date that we had, I spent a nice penny on this great steakhouse that we went, and then here goes this homeless guy as we're leaving Catch in the city steakhouse with all these flowers. So I'm like, oh God, like I'll take them. And literally the guy like gave me all the flowers and he charged me like $50 for it too. I'm like, bro, you just stole these from the street up the street. You charged me $50 for it. And she was like, don't buy them, don't buy them. I'm like, no, I want to buy it just because this is an opportunity here. I want to just say thank you. And they ended up dying like the next day.
Typical.
Right? Typical. But I wanted to show her that moment of me getting her flowers, because I saw how excited she was about the flowers, was going to be something that I was going to remain consistent with for the rest of our lives, our relationship. And now 2.5 years later, I still make sure that I have flowers that are alive in the house. And the more that you care for flowers, the longer they stay alive.
Yes.
Right? So every 3 or so weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on when they die, I get my girl flowers. And I've tied Callie into it as well. So that's one thing. Very strategic about leaving notes, small little notes, right? Every time I write the note, I start out with, I love you, I'm grateful for you, and I choose you today. Because all we have is today. And then I'll say something maybe about the day, have a great day, can't wait to, have dinner with you later. Or something that's uplifting and inspiring. It takes me 2 seconds when I'm doing my coffee, right? So I would say the flowers, the letter. One thing we're super intentional about is date night. Date night is critical, man. Like, because I'm sure CV could tell you, in a long-term relationship, it's hard to just find the time and I think almost the motivation and inspiration to get out of your own house and to actually go somewhere and stir up a conversation with your significant other. Now, you don't have to take your girl out to an expensive spot. There's plenty of times that literally just the other day, I told Katie, I said, put on some sweats and leggings. Let's go get tacos. The bill was $60. You know what I mean? Coffee dates, things like that are super easy and small to do. And then this one is free game. Now, weather permitting, but we go on what's called gratitude walks. And we just step outside together, regardless of the schedule. We did it last night as well. I didn't get home till like 7 o'clock, but I was like, look, like I had a really hectic day. She's like, me too. I'm like, let's go get some fresh air. And typically we only do 3 things that we're grateful for as we're walking, and that starts to stir up different conversation. Yesterday happened to be an abundant day, and we literally fired off like 10 things you're grateful for. And it just stirs up intentional conversation, which is so important in relationships. So those are, some things that I think I do, and I don't just do them here and there. I do them all the time. You know what I mean? The flowers are every couple weeks when they die. The dates are at least every other week, if not once a week. The walks are as much as we can do, and then the letters are a couple times a week as well. And I also do that stuff for Callie. So it's not just a significant other thing. Somebody who's important in your life, right? Like if you sent your mom a text message, and you didn't necessarily write it if you're not living with her. If you sent your mom a text message 3 days a week, what do you think that would do for her?
It would lift her spirits.
You know what I'm saying? So little things like that, I think we often, myself included, for a long time, I wasn't intentional about it. And now if you just focus on those little small things consistently over time, your girl's gonna love you, bro. So is your mom. So is your daughter. Whoever it is that you're doing this stuff for.
My son's smooth, yo. My son Davito.
Davito.
David, real quick before I touch base on the mom thing, because my mom, now that I think about it, my mom is very intentional. She real quick, she sends us text messages every morning. So it's crazy that you said that. Beautiful. And this morning she said to us, how we treat others is really a reflection of how we think about ourselves. And
she does this every day?
Every day.
That's beautiful.
And I'm like, I really had to sit back and think about it. I'm driving, so I can't really, I can't, but like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, it goes to show, like, you really are a depiction of your parents. And I'm like, I strive for that every day, not realizing I'm striving for that. I try to be the light in a room. I try to make people laugh. I try to, bring the best out of everybody. But it's like she does that just as much. And I wasn't there for her beginning years, but that's who she is, which is why she sent us that text, and she wants us to be like that. You know what I mean? Love my pop. Shout out to, you know what I'm saying, the big dog, Flacco. But, you know what I'm saying? My mom was a single parent. You know what I mean? She was a single parent with 4 kids. How do you manage that without going insane? You know what I mean? Like, there's people out there babysitting, and the kid is just wild. And it's like, yo, I can never do this. But it's like, yo, my mom did that with 4. My mom did that alone. My mom did that. She had her first one in high school. My mom was going to class, holding my older sister Carissa, going to college with my sister Carissa, because she was never going to give up. She was very intentional with what she was doing. She knew what she wanted. She got her degree. She kept going. She's a paralegal. You know what I mean? So it's like, she's always been like that, but I feel like that's stuff that you don't really see. And, you know, you bringing it up shows, you know what I'm saying, how incredible Mom Dukes really is. You know, Mom, shout out to you, you know what I mean? And the whole family. But, you know, with the whole homeless flower thing, not homeless flower, but the homeless person and the flowers, I feel like it was bigger than what you think. You know what I mean? And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like, yeah, cool. You bought the flowers because you wanted to show Katie a good time. You wanted to, you know, show her how intentional you are, and you've let it up for the years to come where now you keep, you know, living flowers in the house. But, like, you made that dude's day.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you made that dude's day.
And
besides the fact.
And he overcharged. But he must have saw me coming out the steakhouse like, oh, this dude got money.
We about to
I'm
get
gonna
him.
bang him. And I'm like, bro, I only wanted 1 flower. He's like, nah, you take all of them, bro. And then he played me. He's like, you only gonna give her 1?
Wow.
I'm like, man, give me all of them.
He's smooth too. My son, no.
Great salesman.
No, great salesman. But it's like, you know, not to go back to, you know, God and Jesus and all that, but like, you know, they always say it's like, yo, if you're going to do good in the world, do good when no one's watching. Do good when you're not in front of the light. Do good when you're not on social media. And I feel like that just goes to show that. Like, I don't think you did that because Katie was there. I think you did that because that's just who you are. You know what I mean? You would have done that, pause, you would have done that if you went to dinner with CV. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's just always who you've been. So, you know, you're an epitome of everything that, you know, God talks about, everything that you speak about, and no one can take that from you. So I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, thank you. When it comes to homeless people, man, it's one thing that there is a real sensitive spot in my heart, and it's a weird game because you know that like half of these people are on drugs and doing the wrong thing and drinking and all of that. But I would say 7 to 8 out of 10 times that I see a homeless person, I give them a couple dollars. And I try to remove the thought process of like, oh, he's going to go use it on drugs. Because at the end of the day, they're still in the streets. They're still in the streets. I have a bed to go home to. I have a house, you know, that I'm blessed to live in. And the little things I think we often take for granted. And although, you know, drugs and alcohol are a choice, at some point it becomes a disease, and a lot of people disagree with that, which is fine. I just know from my own personal experience, you know, with family members being addicted, like they're not necessarily choosing to use, right? Like they get to a point where they're so addicted that just to feel normal, they have to utilize drugs and alcohol. And I have a soft, sensitive spot for it. Because I could play the discipline game all day. Oh, stop using that. Stop drinking. And you know what? Go get a job and this and that. But the reality is nobody took these people in. I'm baffled by homelessness, man. I'm really baffled by it. Think about that. I don't know if it would even be possible for me to be homeless out here. Like I know too many people to where I could probably be like, yo, let me stay 3 weeks with you. Let me stay 3 weeks with you. Like I got family that maybe take me in. So it's sad when I start to think about how people really become homeless. So that becomes my thought process. And if I have $5, $2, take it. You know what I mean?
It go a long way for them. And it's crazy. I never even thought about it like that, where it's like, yo, like, you know, you just wish that you could just take them in and help them because they don't have that guidance like how you have that guidance. And like how I'm blessed to have that guidance with you guys. You know what I mean? But, you know, it's wild because I have a soft spot for the, you know, the homeless thing. When I was doing these auditions before COVID hit, everything was in the city, bro. Everything was traveling with Mom Dukes because I'm underage, hopping on the train, getting on subways, walking to these spots to audition. And you pass by hundreds, thousands probably, of homeless people that are, you know, they're just in need of your help. And that's something that always stuck with me and my mom, where it got to the point where we came up with this idea. We never followed through on it. So, I mean, I'll say it if you want to steal it. I understand. But, like, it was an abbreviation of my name. And it was just us temporarily helping people in their time of need, which translates to, you know, Justin. And we wanted to do this thing where we did, you know, book bags for men, purses for the girls, and put, feminine hygiene products, cold clothes, warm blankets and stuff in the, in the girls thing, and the same thing for the guys, jackets and, just like hats and stuff, anything to help them and, obviously feed them as well. But it's just because it feels so strongly in our heart to help. Like we want to help. We don't feel like we have to help. We do it because we want to. And, Mom, if you watching this, I'd love to get that going. So hopefully we can hop on that. And if you feel the same way, I'd love to, help out in any way I can as well, or, vice versa. But you mentioned Cali, bro. That's the little
Hold
homie.
on, bro. That's a fire thing that you just skated.
Oh,
by.
my fault.
No,
I didn't know it was that important.
That's fire. But now I would challenge you to really follow up on that. Now it doesn't have to be this consistent thing that you're doing all the time, because that might be hard. But like, why not fulfill that thought that's been on your heart, right? Like that's something that I think is guided by God. That's something that was placed in your heart, something that you then articulated with your mom. You guys came up with this. You put a lot of thought behind it. You have the resources to do it in terms of the community behind you. I know a place in Greenberg where we can, get this on and popping. Yeah. But doing acts of service for other people, man. We talk about that all the time, right? This is something that why wouldn't you do that? Like, I'm going to kind of be mad at you if you don't do even just like a drive, where you're just doing this and making it happen. And if you help 20 people, you just helped 20 people, and people would love to donate to something like that. So I would encourage you to do that.
I mean, now that you say that, I definitely will. It's one of them things where, like, it don't have to be big. I used to always think that it had to be this big, extravagant thing. Even in relationships, bro, like, simple as, like, not to bring this up, but like, promise rings. I used to think it had to have been this like big, extravagant thing. And, I lost people over that, because it's like, to them, it doesn't have to be that. It's the symbolization behind the ring. It's the love and the thought behind the ring. Unfortunately, I saw that too late. You know what I mean? But it's like, it goes to show that, like, yo, if I just put together 5 purses and 5 book bags, something that I can handle personally, and I go do that by myself, not on video, just go do it. I come home and I'm fulfilled. I just helped 10 people. If I did 2 people, I just helped 2 people. No one needs to know. But I know God knows, and I know what me and him have. So it's like, it's deeper than that. So I'm about to text my mom after this pod, like, yo, we on that. We got to find some purses and some bags, and hopefully eventually get to the point where, people are donating their old purses or donating their old bags, and we just filling them up and giving them out.
I love it.
Yeah, but yo, Cali. I want to hit everyone that you love. You know what I mean? Let's go to Cali real quick. We'll hit Sean. But yeah, Cali, she's like a mini you, bro. She's literally a mini you. The videos that you post, she's always helping you cook. She loves her some steak. That's another
steak
thing.
And salad, baby.
Steak and salad. So with Cali, man, I have a question for her, because I was very curious. What is something that Cali has taught you throughout the years of being her father? Something that you picked up from her specifically.
I think she was the first opportunity for me to really understand what unconditional love is. Like, I don't think there's anything in the world that this girl can do that would make me not love her. It solidified my relationship with God, because it's the same thing. I'm her earthly father, but we all have a heavenly father, even those who may not have an earthly father that's present. And I'm her father, and I love her unconditionally. Now, not to say that she can do no wrong. That's much different. But even if my daughter did something terrible, I'm still going to, yes, of course, she's got to deal with the consequences. But any parent, I believe, loves their child unconditionally. That's present in the household. I think she's taught me a lot of what patience means. I think the importance of soft isn't the right word, but for me, softening up, I guess, because I'm so structured, routine, and disciplined, and hard-nosed, and like in your face. Whereas with her, she has taught me that, bro, you can't be like that with a baby. You know what I mean? So having her has given me the understanding of there's so much more to life. And it really created even more alignment in my life, because at the beginning, when I was a dad, even when it came to working out, there was nothing that I would do to not work out that day, right? Like, even if she was sick, I was making sure I was working out. Whereas now, I'm like, yo, if my baby girl's sick. Like, I got to stay home with her. I got to make sure she's good. Like, if I want to go work out, that's fine, but like that's not the priority. So she really shifted, I think, the priority level for me in terms of what life is really about.
That's fine. And, you know, just to piggyback on the fact that she's literally an epitome of you, it's like you feel like you gotta be soft with her. But like, yo, in the videos, she's just like you.
Yeah.
She's saying her gratitude. You know what I'm saying? She's helping others. Next thing you know, she's gonna be bumping out 50 push-ups straight, more than I can even do. But yeah, I just think it's dope because it's like who would know that someone of that age, that young, that is your daughter could, you know, teach you something. And the fact that you're able to take that in and not be like, yo, who are you to tell me that? I think is a blessing, bro. I think it's a blessing.
Yeah, and I give her a voice, man. Like, I tell her it's so important. And you have to model this stuff early in the household. Like, I'm not a parent. A lot of parents will say, don't drink soda to their kids, right? I don't do that. I just don't drink soda around her. So, you know, when I'm out to dinner with her and we're with other people and their kids are ordering different things, that's fine. And again, I don't care. Like, I love that for you. But for me, I'm not going to order a Coca-Cola and then tell my child not to drink soda, right? So I'm going to get myself a lemon water, and then I don't even say anything. What is she going to order? A lemon water. You know what I mean?
Word.
So I think I've also understood that it really is not about what you say in the household. It's about what you do. And also kids, this is a great lesson she taught me too, man. And her and my goddaughter, my godson, Haley and Mason, I've really been learning and understanding that kids really don't care what you have. They don't care what you have. They care that you're there. Gets no simpler than that, right? Like the rollie on the wrist, my daughter does not care, because if I'm working to try to go get another rollie on my wrist, that's taking away time from me bringing her to Benji's class, to go into Duck Donuts after she has the class, which is a great thing. Like, she just looks forward to these little routines now. Like, all right, we just had basketball class, baby. You know, you worked out. Let's go have a donut together. Those times where we're just spending alone time is the most important thing to her. If I don't show up to something, she's like, Daddy, why weren't you there? Because I've raised her to understand and to believe that Daddy's going to be around to support you. And not support you financially, that's a given, but more so that emotional support, being there for her to see that, like, yo, Daddy's got you. She airballs every time she shoots, obviously, because she's 5. Literally, 7 out of 10 times she's airballing. She looks over at me after every shot. I'm like, because I'm so proud that she's even trying. Like, kids, they get really discouraged and they don't want to keep trying. So I love being that support for her.
I mean, yo, it's crazy because, like you said, it's not about what you have. You know what I mean? It's about being there, and that's that action that you always talk about, and that leads into, you know, my next question with, you know, showing action cultivates excellence. Like, when you met him, right? I'm pretty sure everyone knows the story of how y'all met, but what do you think was the determining factor that led you guys from the bottom to continue to build Ace to where it is now in a positive way?
It might sound cliche, but it's action, right? Yeah. From the day that we met, there was action in place on both sides. CV could tell you this better than anybody. We understand, like, networking these days. Everybody wants to connect, have coffee. Everybody wants to do things. Everybody wants to meet up with you. Sean and I left. I remember we took a selfie after that networking event, and we said, we're going to do something dope together. So the next day, it was like, yo, great to meet you, bro. You know, here's a couple things on my end. I'd love to have you on a podcast. He responds. He's like, yo, I'd love to, you know, get a workout in together. So it was this constant, like, output of action. And then from the podcast, it was like, yo, we got to do something. So what are we going to do? Boom. Then we put this whole thing out to where we went with CV, and we go find this great place, and everything was just action oriented. And when you surround yourself with somebody who has that same level of determination, of discipline, of resilience, of empathy, you know, in terms of wanting to serve, you're going to do great things together. Sean and I were just texting this morning, and he said that he had a dream And it was like the day before Health is Wealth, and we were doing the sound check, and in the dream there were like 2 eagles like just flying by in his dream, and he looked it up, and the representation said that you're in alignment with somebody who's really important in your life, and that could be a spouse, a business partner, and we operate like eagles. There's no competition, there's no level of, oh, I can do this better than you. I let him shine when he's shining. He lets me shine when I shine. There's no level of, oh, I want to steal this from you, or, this is my idea. We've been 50-50 on Ace from day one, and it's something that we always said, even when we make it to, impacting the lives of millions of people, we're always going to remain true to that, the core values that's there. So eagle shit. That's what we say, man, eagle shit.
I mean, not to mistake you, I'm saying the line on the book, but eagle. That's what I'm saying. That's your thing. Mm-hmm. And I think y'all are continuing to fly up. Y'all are continuing to soar. You know what I mean? There's I think Alan Stewart says this. It's like, there's peaks and then there's valleys.
Mm-hmm. Did you, when you were editing the podcast a couple weeks ago, did you listen to the eagle analogy that I gave or no?
No, I don't think I did that one there.
So eagles, there's one bird that attacks the eagle. One bird. And it's a crow, right? And a crow is like mad small. It's annoying. It like pecks at this eagle like over and over. It literally jumps on its back and it starts like biting its neck. And the eagle does not respond. It does one thing. It continues to fly higher because it gets to a level of altitude where the crow can no longer breathe. And then the crow just shoots back down and the eagle just continues to soar. So I gave that analogy at the one of our recent Ace dinners, and everybody was like, "Yo, that is fire! Like, just be the eagle, just be the eagle in life." So when he had that dream, it kind of represented that as well.
No, that's dope. I mean, now that brings me back. Like, that you've had that analogy your whole life, you just didn't know it. Mm-hmm. You were the eagle. I was the crow telling you, let's work out. And we in there, you flew too high, couldn't breathe, started queasing, almost threw up in there, bro. But I feel like I've touched on everyone that you love the most, but I feel like everything stems from our parents, right? And I've had the opportunity of meeting your father very briefly. Not your mother though, but your father has.
You didn't meet my mom?
No. Your father has a contagious smile, bro. He was standing up your whole book thing. He, smiled the whole time. He was, a light in there that everyone needed. What is something about your parents that, like, through all the rough times and the tough times, but what is something that you took where, like, when I do meet them, I'll be able to see immediately?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but, I always tell people, like, one of my, I say this, people give me a lot of credit for being a great father. They always say that, right? It's a compliment I hold near and dear to my heart, but it's one that I hear often. And I'm super grateful for that. I'm proud of that. But I saw what a great father was in my life. My dad works harder than anybody. And the one lesson that he really instilled in me was never, ever, ever, 3 evers, give up. And I watched him do that from, a very young age. I mean, we went through it together financially, as a family, but my dad and I are close, man. Like in what was it, 8th grade when I moved out of my mom's house, me and my dad were living in my aunt's attic in the same bed. So, and I kind of, like, imagine going to school as an 8th grader and, like, people finding out that I slept in the bed. Like, it was something I would never say. I would have been bullied for that. Mm-hmm. But it was never weird for us. Like, we shared a space, and, like, he just held it down. Yeah. We did whatever we had to do, but never gave up. And not in terms of, like, you just have to work like a dog, but you never give up your faith. Mm-hmm. You never, ever, ever, ever give up your faith. So that's what he taught me. And then my mom, I think, is the epitome of resilience. Being addicted to drugs and alcohol for the first 28 years of my life. I don't know if there's anything harder in life than being physically addicted to a substance and then literally turning it off and never going back. So I saw her at a very dark place in her life. We got through it together, and she's the epitome of resilience. I wrote about, both of them in the book. But I have, I believe, adopted those 2 lessons from my parents that I don't know if when you look at them you could see it, but when you look at me, I hope that you can see that. You know?
fire. Shout out to Mom Dukes and Pops. Yeah,
Right.
They're incredible people. You mentioned the book,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always wondered this, from the chapters I have read in the book, but also just like period, because it's like there's no way you've only learned 30 lessons.
Mm-hmm.
What is one lesson that didn't make it into that book that many people can really take?
I don't think as much as I talk about vulnerability, and this would be, I guess, specifically for like younger people, but even adults, because it's important. I hope to embody vulnerability nowadays. I didn't write a chapter about vulnerability in that book, but it truly is one of, if not the most important thing that has led me to where I'm at today. Because for so long, especially in my 20s, earlier, and even I wasn't until I was probably, 29 years old, right before I had Callie, like I embodied no level of vulnerability because I thought that was a weakness. And it's the strongest thing about people if you utilize it, right? I'm not saying be vulnerable and just be like, oh, I'm so soft.
Yeah.
Like that's not vulnerability, right? Like vulnerability is having a humble approach to want to learn something. Being humble in a moment where like the ego wants to fight back, but you have the vulnerability to be like, yo, you know what? I am struggling with this thing. So I think people your age need to embody that early, because if you do that, you're going to be phenomenal at everything you do. You still will be phenomenal because eventually you're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. But if people in their 20s now were to take that and adopt it and begin to embrace vulnerability, your life is going to be so different, man.
Yeah. See, my son dropping gems, like it comes natural to you, bro. It comes natural to you, bro.
But see, to me now, I feel like all these things that we're talking about, and this is important too, is so, I feel like I discuss them all the time. And too often we tend to focus on trying to have a new message to people, whereas like this conversation probably just hit somebody in a completely different way. And really, I didn't talk about anything different. And for a long time, I was making a mistake on trying to, bring in a new audience by bringing a new message. You want to continue to hone in on your messaging and get clear on what it is that you do, right? For me, it's leadership, right? I encourage people to become the best leaders at home, at work, and in the mirror. And I could say that 100,000 different ways, but I don't need to now become the expert in diet, the expert in exercise. Like, you don't need to just keep coming up with new things. So to me, I'm like, oh, I talk about that stuff all the time. But to you, you're like, oh, you just dropped a gem. I don't know if you're being funny or if you're being serious about it. But, that was one of my biggest mistakes, right? I do a lot of podcasts, I do a lot of public speaking. So I used to constantly think, oh my God, what can I say here that's going to hit people? What can I do there? It's not about that, man. It's being authentic to yourself. What's your message? And then sharing that in different ways.
That's crazy. Because I'm that. You know what I mean? I'm very self-conscious of repeating myself and like wanting to post content, but now I feel like the content I want to post is going to get too repetitive, so I never do it. I never take the leap. But it's like, yo, you're 100% correct. You never know. You may say the same thing, maybe a different way, but you're saying the same thing over the course of a period that it may hit somebody differently than it hit the first person that understood it. Or you, like, for example, I love people that, I struggle with this, but I love people that go on tangents. And the reason why I love it is because I don't tend to grasp what they're trying to say the first time. I tend to catch it on the third explanation of it or the fourth explanation of it. And they don't even realize. They think that they're just, they're rambling and, you know what I'm saying? But the eyes tend to understand it later down the road. So that's fire, bro. You just changed my whole thing on that. Just changed my whole thing on that. So look, I want to ask you one question before we end it off.
You could, listen, man, whatever you want. Good.
So I've been around you for a long time. And for years, you've been telling people not to snooze on life, right? And there may not even be one. You know what I'm saying? Let's put that out there. There may not be one. I don't want to say that there is one, but what is one thing in your life that you feel like you still snooze on that you're trying to break?
Snooze on life? Never that. Nah, that's a great question, man. It sounds a little, I don't know if it's cliche or whatever, but I have tend to notice, and where I want to get better is making people feel a little bit more welcome early on. I feel like people look at me and they just judge me because obviously the way that I look. But I've been really practicing smiling a little bit more and just being kind to people first. I walk in the gym and it pisses me off. I got to be honest. When I say good morning to people and they don't say good morning back, I'm like, oh, God, like, fuck these people.
Close the same way.
Yeah, but like the truth is, it doesn't really matter, right? I'm not doing it off of reciprocity, right? Reciprocity is when you do something in hopes for it to return back to you. And I need to get a little bit better with that. And also what I'm seeing, like even today, man, it was crazy. I don't love talking to people when I work out. I actually don't like it because one, I could barely breathe. I usually work off of a timer. So I'm very like focused, but I notice that people stare at me and like literally I'm just kind of grilling right back and gazing and I'm not smiling. I'm not very friendly, but I've had a couple of impactful conversations with a couple individuals in the sauna. People, I must have this aura about me where people think that it's okay to talk to me because everybody's talking to me when I'm in the sauna and I can barely breathe and this and that. But, I was talking to these guys today and they were just like, I could tell they were taken back because they see me all the time and I've never spoke to them. Granted, they never spoke to me, but I never spoke to these guys. I had a wonderful conversation with them. And it was actually beautiful, man, because I got a DM after from one of the guys in there. And again, this is somebody I've probably seen multiple times. You could read it. Don't say the name or anything, but you could read it.
Yo, great seeing you today at the gym, brother. Thank God for your commitment and godly leadership. I'm in your corner. Let's make time to chat further about what you're working on so I could be more of an intentional support for you.
I see this guy, this is 7:40 in the morning. I see him every day, bro. Never spoke to this man once in my life. I click his page and the first thing is like God, leadership, and family. And I'm like, oh my God, this is somebody that I would love to be like connected to. There's a lot of alignment there. And I think to really sum it up for you is I just want to smile more. I want to be a little bit kinder to people. I know that I have kindness in my heart. I know that. But people judge me. And when they judge me, it kind of bothers me because I'm like, damn, I'm not that person. But if you're not that person, I have to continue to do a little bit more to show them that I'm really not. You know what I mean? And people are always going to say negative things about me. I've gotten to the point now that like just kind of happens. People just talk and they're going to say whatever they're going to say. But I feel like my heart is clean. But externally, sometimes I still put out a little unwelcing vibe to me.
Bro, you honed in, bro. You're honed in. You locked in. I think it's crazy that you say that. And real quick before we end it off, like my brother said something on his podcast and. Shout out to my son Zach. Shout out to Ja. Different pages, but yo Zach, I'm on a pod with the commissioner, bro. You know what I mean? I'm on a pod with the commissioner, but yeah. Now he said something about on the pod. He was like, yo, I want to, along like the same lines as you, like, yo, I want to challenge y'all. When y'all in the elevator with a bunch of people, and everyone's on their phone, put your phone away, and just greet them, say hello. And I'm like, yo, I don't really like. I didn't really see it. I didn't understand it, but he challenged me, so now I gotta try it. So I went in the elevator one time. I was actually here, and this elderly lady walked on. She was on her phone trying to find something. I put mine away. I said hello, and it led to an incredible conversation that led to the best team in the NFL, the New York Jets. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God!
But also led to how her day was going, how my day was going, and it ended off with her saying, "Yo, your mom raised you right. I really appreciate what you did, and I hope you have a blessed day." And I was like, whoa. Called my brother right after. I was like, yo, I don't know what you just did, but it works. And he got gassed. He didn't think it was gonna work. But yo, it works. That just goes to show, like, going out of your shell and doing something new. You smiling more, possibly having more conversations. Us in the elevator, just, putting our phones away and just having human interaction. And, I think that's incredible, bro. I appreciate you for this. This was dope.
Yeah, man.
This was dope.
You did a good job.
I hope so.
You did.
I hope so.
You did a good job.
I mean, real quick, though, that basketball game, I want to bring that up. Chloe, you remember we had that basketball game and I almost beat him at the center? Nah, I had to have, bro. I almost beat him. There's a video somewhere.
First of all, I have the whole thing on my phone, so
perfect.
You should be careful.
Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Callie delete that, and what we're going to do, we're going to run it back.
Yeah, so now you should bring that up. So Justin had one of his humble moments of being like, yeah, I could beat you one-on-one. And I told Claudio very confidently, I said, I don't think he's going to score a point. I don't think he's going to score a point. And Claudio was like, I don't know, bro. Like, you kind of like, you haven't really played in that long. Like, I don't really know. Like, is he going to be good? And I'm like, Chloe, I think I'm going to beat him, bro, and I want you to record it. So we literally recorded this one-on-one basketball game where I even set rules, and I remember that it was I couldn't back you down. So we had to take 2 dribbles and pull up. So I had to have, a plethora of moves for you.
In the bag,
I would take it to the rack a couple times. I would shoot the 3 on you. I'd pull up on you. And I believe I beat you, and you didn't score 1 point.
A significant amount.
No. You didn't score 1 point.
Significant amount. You know what I mean? But look, I can accept when I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I chirped too much at the time. I was young. I lost. But I was a different kid back then.
It would happen again.
I was a different height. I was like 4'7" when this happened.
Really? A different height? You were the same
4'7".
height. Same exact height.
5'9" now. And if you ever feeling like you want to run that back, let me know, and we there. If I lose again, I understand.
You know what's funny? And how I say, I see a lot of you, me and you, right? Mm-hmm. I did the same thing. So growing up, I never really lost one-on-one basketball games. Like, never. Not saying that I was the best player by any means, but for whatever reason, I was able to cook people on a one-on-one individual basis pretty well. And I did it in Mount Vernon. I did it in Stanford. I did it in Greenwich. I did it in Mamaroneck, any community that I was really a part of, until I get into college. And I believe it was my senior year of high school, and I'm going into college, and I meet this guy, Nick Arbab, Papa Poops on Instagram. It's my guy. He's one of my best friends for life. I haven't seen him in years, but he's one of my best friends. He was the first person that I literally was you, bro. I was talking so much trash, and he's like, I'm going to beat you. I'm like, bro, you're scrawny, just as scrawny as me. You can't be good because you got like some hairstyle going on. You got like some running sneakers on. There's no way. And he's like, bro, I'll take your money. I'm going to beat you one-on-one. And I was literally talking so much trash to this dude. And he was only like 2 or 3 years older than me. And he washed me. And that opened my eyes to many losses to come, because then I got into college, and now you're around like the best of the best. But for whatever reason, coming up through my senior year of high school, I never lost one-on-one basketball games. And it wasn't until I had to be humbled. And he took my money too, because I said, I want you to, take my money because I'm going to take yours. So when I pulled out that 20 piece, he took it from me. Yeah. But then I got him back multiple times.
There you go. That's all that matters.
Shout out
bro.
Papa Poops.
Yeah, you say you keep continuing, but I mean it with all love. You know what I mean? You are an incredible role model in my life, and I can't thank you for everything that you've not only taught me, but the amazing stuff that you put out so that people can continue to get better in their life and elevate their life. So, I mean, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, my brother. Listen, you want to close us out, man? Go ahead.
Yo,
just remind them. Yeah, close out however you want, and then remind them to attend Health is Wealth.
Health is Wealth.
Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com.
We got some more.
Go ahead, man. Do your thing,
guys. Just want to thank y'all for listening. You know what I mean? Shop the latest merch. No snooze. Shop.com.
Yep.
Okay, you know what I mean? Show up to Health is Wealth, April 25th. It's an all-day event, 9 to 5, right? 9 to 5?
9 to 5.
I'm saying come hungry, but make sure you get your tickets ahead of time so you can eat. You know what I mean? But No Snooze Podcast. It's the way to go. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all, listening to me and this annoying voice. But, bro, thank you for everything.
Yes, thank you, my brother.
I look forward to, greater things to come.
You forgot the best part.
Oh, what's that?
Until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Ooh, there we go, baby. Look at the shorts, bro. Look at the shorts. He got the Timbs on with the high
Thank you guys for tuning in. That's another Epi in the books. You can follow us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. Come on.